Oh, big yawn. Okay, just gonna fall asleep now on my lap. Hello! So, if you could not guess from the title of this video what it's about, I think you've got the clue now. So, as you probably saw from yesterday's video from France, and if you didn't see that, it's there in the card, go look at it. I injured my hand because I was lying on a sun lounger and then I kind of pushed myself up to get further up the sun lounger and it flipped backwards and I landed on my wrist. There were legs in the air. It was not good. I've actually been wanting to make this video for a while because the thing is, when I injure myself in a really special way. Yeah, it's not just that I've hurt my wrist by landing on it, although it does have a massive bruise. It's that now it's got a palsy. What is a palsy? So, as you know, I have HNPP, hereditary neuropathy with liability to pressure palsies. What is a palsy? A palsy is a paralysis which can be partial and it affects an area of your body and makes it incapable of voluntary movement. Basically, I can't move my own fingers now. And sometimes when you have a palsy, although it is paralysed, it does hurt quite a lot, but in a very strange way, because right now I can't feel my fingers and yet they are painful in a fuzzy way. Because it can't hold itself up right now, a lot of effort is obviously going on here. As you probably know from some of my other videos, when I was about 17, I managed to paralyse both of my arms completely. And I had to wear my wrist splints, these guys, for like a year and a half. And that was because as some of my nerves came back, others didn't. For instance, my fingers came back before my wrists came back, interestingly. So if I had them in a splint, like so, I could move my fingers, but then if I took my splint off, they flopped, and I couldn't move my fingers or my wrist. The human body is amazing, but right now it's doing its own special little thing, so I can't move the fingers. Oh, see? Things I do for you guys. Show and tell. Oh. Okay. So, oh, a little hand. Oh, sorry. Alright, so what does a palsy look like? Which is the nice way. Well, it looks like this. It's a bit strange. If you stuck a pin in it, I wouldn't feel it for a while, in that I can't feel like the top layers of my skin. But that's pretty normal. I can't feel the first layer ever, all the way up to my shoulders, so that's hot and cold. If something's really rough or really smooth, I can't really tell. Also, I get really dirty fingers. It hurts quite a bit. Ooh. Oh yeah, look. Oh, there's my bruise. It's not bad actually, it's currently just in a green stage, which is nice. Look, I managed to split my skin twice. That's quite painful. Sometimes they're just quite floppy and they don't hurt at all. I think because this one was a direct injury to my wrist, that's why it hurts. Whereas if I have a palsy because I slept on my arm, say, then it doesn't tend to hurt very much, it's just numb. They can also be really painful because your muscles start to atrophy because you haven't used them for very long. So yeah, floppy hand, splint, in it goes. Oh, I've never yet, in my 11 years of wearing splints, found a way to put that on that does not hurt. Anyway, so here you can see it's got some nice lace up. And it's got metal bars at the front and the back. I used to take this bar out at the back. That was my little trick. If you find them really uncomfortable, take the bar out of the back, it'll help. Anyway, so yeah, pull closed, pull around, there we go. Delightful. So obviously if you paralyse parts of yourself for a very long period of time, you will get muscle wastage. One of my doctors told me once that it takes 6 weeks to lose a muscle and 6 months to gain it back, which is a bummer. So my condition's episodic, which means that it gets bad and then it gets good and then it gets bad and then it gets good and then it gets bad and then it gets good. But the thing is that when something paralyses, you don't really know to what degree it's going to happen, for how long that's going to be, to what degree it's going to get better, when it will start to get better. You don't know really when it's going to happen. I get a bit of tingle maybe 24 hours before it starts to go, or I have an injury, in which case it just happens within like 10 minutes. When it does, you don't know how long it's going to take for it to get to the worst. You don't know how low it's going to go, how bad it will be. You don't know for how long it's going to be paralysed. You don't know when it's going to start to get better, and you don't know how much it's going to get better. I would say that my left hand has never been as good as it was before I was 17 and I paralysed it. And I don't think it's ever going to be. That's just the way it is now. And it's fine, because it's so much better than it was. Oh my god, amazing. I can hold things. Until you've had someone feed you, you never know how great it is to just be able to hold stuff. So it's a bit floppy, as you can see. You've probably seen some of my videos and photos. My hands generally do this. I should have a bit more like the Mr. Burns hands. It also affects my feet. One time I managed to knock out my ankle. I was in a wheelchair for about 6 months. Another time I managed to paralyse both of my knees in separate incidents. So that's a kind of big event that would happen. But then also my feet tend to go numb to a smaller degree quite often, especially when I travel on planes. If I'm going on a long plane journey, I will make sure that I get up at least once an hour. I'll walk up and down the cabin. I'll probably do some yoga. That is not in any way yoga. It's just weird stretches that Jessica likes to do in a very confined space. Anyway. But if I'm going on a small journey, like the one we just did, back from France, I don't tend to move that much, which I know is really bad. My own fault. And then generally when I have to get off the plane, I can't feel my feet or use them, and they're just like clumpy masses. And that's why, if I'm going on a journey like that, I tend to get a special assistance pass, like I did when we went to France. And this is quite confusing for people, because I can walk onto the plane, but I can't really walk off it very well. And you try and explain this to an air steward, even though you've, ahead of time, you bought your ticket saying this is a special assistance, I will need a wheelchair at the other end, I do need disability assistance. And then you walk up to someone and go, hello, I have a special assistance ticket. And they're like, okay. Like this time in France, when we went up to the lady and we're like, hello, I have a special assistance. And she went, why? Because I do. But what's your problem? Don't know that I want to talk about it. It's like, I'll need a wheelchair at the other end, so I've booked special assistance. But why? What is your problem? And George is like, she's disabled. And like, that should just be it, shouldn't it? Surely? She's disabled. You don't really need to know anything else. You don't really need to know what's wrong with me. You don't actually want me to start talking about neurological illnesses. But no, she persisted. She stood there, her little gatekeepery way. But what? But why? What is your problem? What is your disability? I'm pretty sure you're not actually allowed to ask someone that. I feel it might actually be a law that you cannot ask somebody what their disability is, because I do not need to prove myself to you. And I don't want to. And it's embarrassing. It shouldn't be embarrassing, but it kind of is when everyone else in the line behind me is listening and watching. So thanks, lady. More thanks to my wife though, who was awesome and just stared her down. Because she needs it. I faced a lot of semi-evil air stewards because I have a very bad habit of injuring myself on holiday. Like the time we went to Venice and I slipped over on a marble floor on the very last day, and fell onto some marble stairs and dislocated my arm. And we had like an hour before the plane was leaving, and this was generally agreed by my entire family that we just had to get back on the plane. They were like, we're not going to hospital to get that put back in because we have to get this plane right now. Deal with it. So my mother just gave me strong painkillers. They pretty much like dragged me onto the plane, sat me down. The whole flight I was there like, oh. And then, thank goodness, the pilot was terrible. Had the most awful crash. Not the most awful crash, that sounds really bad. Did the bumpiest landing, cronk, and cracked my arm back into place. So sometimes it pays to fly EasyJet. So yeah, this is actually more turned into a video about the calamitous things that keep happening to me every time I go near planes or holidays. No, don't worry, it will probably be fine in a few days or weeks. But you know, really, that's my life. It doesn't upset me that much anymore because it's really the only life that I know how to live. So don't worry for me. If you are worried for me, do not panic. It will all be okay. Sometimes I can do things, sometimes I can't. Like everyone with an episodic or changeable health condition or disability, life is just a kind of roller coaster. My body has its ups, it has its downs. Oh, down, it goes down. But I am always awesome on the inside. Bang, and that is what counts. I hope you've liked this video. I hope it has helped you learn something or has made you feel a little better about a palsy if it's happened to you. Not alone, never alone. Let me know in the comments and we can be palsy buddies.